Hi, I'm Vache, founder and director of Hero Finance, and I've been working with George and the Hyecorp team for the last 1.5 years, helping their clients to settle their new purchases smoothly.
So Vache, can you tell us about the various steps that a potential customer who is planning to purchase a property off the plan needs to be aware of?
Yeah, absolutely. So typically I'd say it's a 7-step process, give or take. But the main thing is to know before they do anything how much they can borrow and the savings that they require. So highly recommend step 1, go see your bank or your broker. They'll calculate the exact amount that you can borrow, which then will dictate the amount that you should buy for. That's based on your income and also based on the savings that you currently have or projected savings that you'll have within the next up until settlement. That leads into step 2. Step 2 is essentially once you have that typically pre-approval, what we'll call it, from the lender, then you're confident in going out there and looking at properties. So you'd look at the property, and if everything stacks up, you'd let the banker or the broker know this is the property I'm looking for. Then they will do their research to make sure that that particular property stacks up with the bank that they're looking at. Alternatively, they can change their options and see what other bank suits that particular property. Before they sign the contract, which is step 3, I'd say give the contract to your conveyancer or solicitor to review. Typically, this contract is going to be over 100 pages. It is a lot of legal jargon in there, real estate legal jargon, which most of us won't really understand. Really important to give it to them. They'll review it, and their review protects the client. Most of the contracts are, I guess, there to protect the client and the vendor or the developer in this sense, but it's important to have someone on your side, such as the solicitor, that advises you what that contract actually means and turns it into layman's terms so we know what you're actually signing. So step 3, you'd sign the contract, you pay your holding deposit, and at what point do they pay the 10%? Is that
within the 2-week period of signing the contract? That's actually when they officially would have purchased the subject property. Sorry to interrupt, but on the matter of the contract, obviously, as we know, it is a legal document, and it's important for the client. I mean, it does protect both mutually, both the client as well as the vendor, the developer. But knowing about the track record of the developer is very, very important because that will give them, I guess, an ease of mind that the developer has been around for a number of years, has done many projects and so on.
It's a solicitor actually does a bit of background research on developer before they advise the client. So that's why step 3 is
transparency is very, very important. That you know, this is who we are, this is what we've done, this is our longevity, and so on. So please keep going.
Okay. So step 4, I'd say you've now signed the contract, you've entered into the agreement, you know you're going to go towards buying this property. It's now time to budget. So if you've set a saving plan in place, this is where you start putting that exact amount aside each month to know that the goal you need to get to, which in step 1, we've sort of planned out already. Then we've got step 5. So essentially, you would notify all of the clients that the property is now ready to have valuers walk through and value. The scaffolding will be coming down. They'll be going out there and looking at almost the end product. At that point in time, they'll issue the valuation back to the bank. The bank will then give a formal approval, so an unconditional approval, meaning they're happy with everything, and we're going to now set the path to settlement after this. Step 6, really important, loan documentation gets sent to the client or to the broker or the banker, where in these loan documentation is the offer from the bank.
There's one thing I'd like to add in relation to valuation. One thing we do at Hyecorp is we actually prepare for the valuer info packs, which
I knew that was a secret. I told you there's something there.
Yeah, no, actually, info pack does help the valuer to have a clear understanding. I mean, of course, it's their job to value the property, so we're not there to influence whatsoever. But I guess the factual information is always very, very important because those valuers do, I guess, per day, I don't know how many valuation. So it's just a number, but when you provide them a well-documented info pack, obviously it does. I mean, I have received positive feedback on that matter from clients as well.
Actually, I was involved firsthand with that when we did EVA. We saw Macquarie Park units were absolutely tanking off the plan when it was coming. So Hyecorp, we all jumped into solution mode there and created this info pack explaining and showing the evidence as to why the quality of finishings were so much better. And you had all the recent comparable sales on there. The valuer saw that and loved it. Essentially what you did was you mirrored the valuation report the way it should be. You made their job easy instead of them really getting out there and pushing that, the extra research and all that. You gave them the properties they should be looking at. 9 times out of 10, they might just pick the first 10 that comes up and goes, okay, well, that's it. But you went that extra mile, found similar properties that sold in that price range within the last 6 months. You gave it to them. They went off, did their own analysis of that. And the valuer signed off and their manager signed off on these, and the valuations came in good. So actually doing that and creating that pack, it was about a 6-page pack that we were doing. And I share that with my clients now to show, this is what we do, which is great. So within the offer documents, it'll have the interest rate, the repayments, the terms and conditions of the bank, also setting up your direct debits and debit cards, credit cards, and repayment options. So that all happens. At this point in time, there'll also be a document which shows how much funds are available from the bank. Now, essentially the client or the client solicitor will get this figure. They'll minus it from the purchase price plus stamp duty and costs and the 10% deposit that they've already given. And there'll be a shortfall potentially that the client would need to pay towards settlement. That shortfall can either be sent to their new bank account with the new bank that they're going with for them to control on the day of settlement to pay you guys. Or alternatively, they can send that into their solicitor's trust account. That's just the BSB account number. They transfer it there and their solicitor will coordinate the settlement on the day of settlement. So that's step 6 finished. Step 7 is settlement. Essentially, the solicitor will make all the payments on behalf of the client. The developers get their money, clients get the keys, pop open the bottle of champagne, and we're done.